I'm Debra Kasowski. Thank you for joining me for today's video. We are going to be talking about 5 things you can do to increase your value, know your worth, and not settle. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I am talking about the importance of knowing your value. That's right, knowing your value. And value as in the importance of what you bring to the table. Now, often people use worth and value interchangeably. And often when people see the word worth, they're thinking about cost, they're thinking about investment, they're thinking about money, is often where people go with worth. And when we think about value, we're talking about the importance. What substance or tangible thing can someone bring to the table? Well, here's the thing. They both can be used interchangeably, but when we're going to be talking today, we're going to be talking about knowing your value, which will be equivalent to knowing your worth. And one of the things that I want to talk to you about when it comes to knowing the importance of knowing your value means that you're not going to settle. You're not going to settle for less than you believe you deserve. And here's the thing. When people do not feel worthy, and people have been there all at one time or another, I have been, and I'm just being vulnerable here. It's a real thing to have moments where you don't feel deserving or you don't feel worthy of accolades. But here's where the catch is. You can get caught up in thinking that they need validation from others, that people will acknowledge who they are or feel that they've brought value if they have certain credentialing, if they have accomplishments and accolades and all of these things. They're all great things. And yes, they do look valuable on a resume, on paper. And of course, when we're hiring people, we look at those things. And this is where I want you to think about the importance of knowing your value. That is your talents, your skills, your capabilities, and recognizing and realizing what you can bring forth. See, people often, what we'll find is in identity, they tie who they are with what they do. And when you know your value, you're able to separate those C's and know that value of what you bring to the table is not defining you as from what you do. And this is where you see elite sports or people who retire from where they've tied their identity to their role, where they really struggle after because that defined who they are. And when they're no longer in their role, that they struggle with that. So I want you to take a step back and recognize your value, your personal value, taking away the work, shedding all these accomplishments and medals and treasures that are all around you, but who are you? And when you take time to get to know who you are, I'll tell you, this is very magical in the fact that when you know who you are, you're able to recognize the gifts in other people. And you will be able to see what they stand for. This goes back to also knowing your values, not just knowing your own personal value, but knowing the values that you live by. For example, mine are trust, respect, wisdom, family, intellect, unconditional gratitude, all of these different things. So when you think about your values and really doing, a decisive chart and thinking about what is it that drives me? Because your values show up in everything you do. Where you put your time, your energy and resources, that's what you value. That's what you're putting importance on. For some people, it's money. For some people, and money is a great thing. Don't get me wrong. But there's always this extreme of any of them. So know what your values are, know what you stand for, and it will help you grow as a person. That's one thing, knowing your values. And then also, when you know your values, know yourself, you are able to have that awareness and you can make decisions very quickly. You'll be more decisive because you're going to be able to trust yourself because you can ask yourself this simple question. Does this align with my values? Is it important to me? What is the significant? Is this what matters? Will it make an impact? So one simple question that can extrapolate into many things, but really it comes down to, does this align with my values? The next thing to recognize is you're going to be a better decision maker, but also when opportunities come your way, you're going to seize them. You're going to get excited because you know that not only do you know yourself, you trust yourself, that fear of uncertainty will dissipate because you have a confidence in yourself that no matter what comes your way, you are going to be able to handle it. And if you come across something that you don't know, you know that you have the resourcefulness to figure it out. So knowing your values helps you become more decisive, also helps you seize opportunities, and ultimately helps you focus on what adds value to your own life. And when you add value to your own life, everything feels like you're living in flow and synchronicity. Opportunities continue to come your way, and you're going to find a lot more joy. While you give value to others, that value is going to continue to increase toward you. Now, there's 5 things I want you to do to increase your own value. Number 1 is self-awareness. When you have self-awareness and you truly know who you are to your core, what you stand for, what you're not willing to settle for, and that comes down to that, some people will settle for average, and some people will up the scale and go for extraordinary. So you weren't meant to be average. You weren't meant to be mediocre. It is time for you to step into your potential, have greater awareness of who you are, what you bring to the table. The other thing is learning to set boundaries. When you set boundaries, you teach people how to treat you. You also set boundaries and protect your time, your energy, and resources so they can be directed to where your gifts lie and how you can continue to step in your potential. The other thing is you're going to start carving out me time. That me time is so important when it comes to developing your skill, recharging, relaxation, getting those juices going again so you can continue to share and do the work that you're meant to do here in the world. So the importance of knowing your value. When you know your value, you're not going to compromise. So again, we're going to go to self-awareness is key, setting boundaries, and that me time. And the other thing is knowing that you don't need permission from others to be you, to just simply be you and go after your goals and dreams. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need other people's approval, and you can just focus on being you. The other thing that I need you to do to increase your value is to stop criticizing yourself. When things don't go right, do not go into that self-depreciating humor to start putting yourself down. How stupid was that? That is not serving you. See, subconsciously, your brain doesn't know if you're talking real or not, or you think you're joking. It absorbs all of it. So why not use empowering words like, you got this, next time, you got this, no problem. So when you listen to how you speak to yourself, this is what is driving your thoughts and emotions about who you are. Remember, you want to separate what you do, all those accomplishments and accolades and those medals and master's degrees or, bachelor degree or this certificate or that certificate, or I've done this many things. That's all good. And it makes us feel great. I'm not saying anything against it because I have a lot of those things. But the biggest thing you want to know when you're looking at your worth and your value is that you don't need to have external validation to define who you are. And when you understand who you are, know who you are to your core, you will stand in your truth. You will live your truth. And you will know that that skill set you bring to the table is of value. You will know that that conversation you had with someone could have changed their life. And most recently, I was caught a video clip of a medical student who told someone on an equipment desk for the Seattle Kraken fan, told one of the equipment managers that he had a mole on his neck that would be cancerous, and he investigated it, and it has prolonged his life because he was able to have that removed. So, you know, when you have a skill set, you can use it in many ways. It can be used in conversation. It can be used in I want you to recognize that the skill set that you possess in the order that you've received them or how it's been packaged, it's all has to do with what you're able to deliver. And there's no one else like you. And when you start to realize and recognize what value you bring, the importance you bring to each situation, you'll realize that you're like a missing puzzle piece. That piece comes in at the right time, exactly when needed. But if you withhold those gifts, you withhold that value and don't know your worth, then you're not going to be willing to fill in that picture so that we can see this beautiful picture because you're a part of it. Now, this is one of the things that I want to impress upon you. If you see someone who feels unworthy, undeserving, I want you to tell them, you know what? I see something in you. And truly, be authentic. You know, I don't want you to make up stuff. I want you to really recognize that each person comes with gifts that need to be shared in this world. And they come in the forms of talents, abilities, and skills. Each person has their own individual goals and dreams, yet there's some universal ones, like, you know, raising your family, hoping that they're going to be growing into caring young adults. And, you know, so many different qualities as a parent that we want them to have. And, you know, when we're really looking at sharing those gifts and that potential, every single person has a mission, a purpose. I truly believe this, and is passionate about something that they need to bring out into the world, that they're called to do. And if you feel called to something, I want you to embrace it. I want you to go after it. And I want you to know you deserve it. And above all, step into who you are, because there's no one else like you. Thank you for joining me here on this video, on this podcast. I'd love for you to go over to my website at www.debrakasowski.com to learn more. And you'll get your 3-part video course of making habits stick so we can build focus and consistency into your life, your dreams, and let's make some things happen.